Let us understand history of JavaScript. In Node.js course, why do you want to learn history of JavaScript? Because Node.js is nothing but JavaScript runtime environment. So it is always good you have basic understanding of JavaScript, how JavaScript was created. So basically, in this lecture, you will understand what is ECMAScript, how ECMAScript was created. So for that, we are going to see history of JavaScript. And if you have this basic understanding, you are going to build strong foundation. And whenever it is asked in interview, it will be easy for you to explain. So in very simple and in short, I will be telling you history of JavaScript to understand what is ECMAScript. So in the year 1993, first graphical web browser Mosaic was created, and this allowed users to view images and other multimedia content on web pages. So this was the first graphical web browser which was created in 1993. In the year 1994, the lead developers of Mosaic, they founded a company called Netscape Communications Corporation, and they have released more polished browser which is called Netscape Navigator. And this was the first successful web browser with a graphical user interface which rendered images with the text. And this browser was completely free and it was used for non-commercial purposes. And this browser became very popular, but still it lacked the capability for dynamic behavior. So in this, web pages could only be static and there was no interactivity after a page has been reloaded. Even it was free and most popular, but still we were not having any interactivity on web pages. Each and every time we would be getting the same page whenever page is refreshed. So in 1995, what happened? They wanted to use one scripting language in Netscape browser. So they hired Brendan Eek and he was given a task to write a scripting language. So what he did, within 10 days, he created a scripting language and he named as Mocha. Later, this name was changed to LiveScript, and again after that, LiveScript was changed to JavaScript. So this is how JavaScript was created, and the name JavaScript was given only for marketing purpose because that time Java was very popular. So remember, Java and JavaScript are completely different languages. They have nothing to do with each other. Like how we have Gulab and Jamun. Gulab, that is rose, it is completely different, and Jamun, that is completely different. Similarly, Java and JavaScript both are completely different programming languages. So this name was only for marketing purpose. So in the year 1995, Netscape created a new scripting language called JavaScript. But in the same year, Microsoft released their browser called Microsoft Internet Explorer. Later, it was referred as Internet Explorer 1. And this was the year which marked the beginning of the browsers war between Microsoft and Netscape. And here, Microsoft realized that JavaScript is going to fundamentally change user experience of the web. So they also wanted JavaScript language for their Internet Explorer. But during that time, Netscape was using JavaScript and there was no specification for JavaScript which can be used by Microsoft. So in 1996, Microsoft reverse engineered the Navigator interpreter and they have created their own scripting language called JavaScript. And this JavaScript was filling the same use cases as JavaScript, but the way it was implemented and the way it was used was completely different from JavaScript. However, this created a huge problem for the developers to make their website work in both the browser, in Netscape browser as well as in Internet Explorer browser, because the implementation of JavaScript was completely different and implementation of JavaScript was also very different. So the websites which were looking good in Netscape they were not looking good in Internet Explorer and vice versa. So due to this two implementation, many companies were not able to afford both the implementations. So to address this, in the same year, 1996, Netscape submitted JavaScript to ECMA International. ECMA stands for European Computer Manufacturers Association, and this is an industry association which is dedicated to the standardization of information and communication systems. So Netscape made a deal with this organization to make standardized form of JavaScript. And why Netscape did this? Because they aim for a standard specification to ensure consistency across all the browsers. Whatever websites were created and the language which was used to create the website, that language should be having specification so that consistency will be maintained across all the browser. So now for each and every new specification, ECMA provided a standard specification and also they provided a committee. So in 1997, in case of JavaScript, the standard was called as ECMA 262 and the committee that was working on ECMA 262 is called as Technical Committee 39. For short, you can also call it as TC39. So finally, in the year 1997, the first version of ECMAScript was released. Then it published the specification as ECMA 262 standard. So now you have understanding why this standard was created. Suppose if many developers are working on some feature, they are adding the feature, they are removing the feature, and there is no particular standard which they can follow. So that is the reason this standard was created. And also the main reason of creating this standard is for consistency. Then later, ECMA decided to use the term ECMAScript to talk about the official language. And the official language is nothing but JavaScript. So now ECMA refers to the standard language and JavaScript is what we will be using in practice, which is built on top of ECMAScript. So developers, whenever they are referring JavaScript, interchangeably, they will be using the term ECMAScript. So both means the same. No matter if you're telling JavaScript or ECMAScript, we are referring to the same language JavaScript. And these are some of the versions of ECMAScript. In 1997, first version of ECMAScript was released. Then in 1998, second version was released. 1999, third version was released. Then ECMAScript 4 was never released. Then directly in 2009, fifth version of ECMAScript was released. Then again after 6 years, sixth version of ECMAScript was released and this is also called as ES6. And since 2015, new version has been added every year. So here this represents the year ECMAScript 2015. For 2016, we have ECMAScript 2016 that is ES7 and again for 2017 ECMAScript 2017 and it keeps on going. So many versions of ECMAScript was released, but this ES6 that is ECMAScript 2015 is what we call as modern JavaScript. So in this version, we are having more modern JavaScript feature and those features and concepts are very important to understand before learning any library or before learning any runtime environment. So this is the brief overview on history of JavaScript and now you understood how we got the name ECMAScript, what is ECMAScript and why we can change ECMAScript and JavaScript interchangeably.